Hello, welcome to another episode of Uncaged, the John Rocker podcast. I'm John Rocker. Here's my PIC, Johnny Free. And our guest today, hang on a second. Did he sign the waiver? Did he sign the waiver? Say he wouldn't kill us all if we asked the wrong question? He did? All right. We're good to go. Yesterday, I want to talk to, for several weeks, I thought he's going to be on the show, American Badass, 20-year military vet, former Navy SEAL, Andrew Sullivan. Sully. How you doing, brother?
I'm well. How about yourself?
Good, man. And just to kind of kick it off, 20 years of service. How many years as a SEAL?
18. 18
as a SEAL. It kind of makes my chintzy baseball career look a little pathetic. But just read off some of this man's accolades. Silver Star. If I get anything wrong, you already see you said you couldn't kill me. Yeah. No, you signed a waiver. You can't kill me.
I did.
You can't kill me. 2 Bronze Stars, Purple Heart, Defense Meritorious Service Medal, 6 Joint Service Commendation Medals, 2 Navy and Marine Commendation Medals, 3 Presidential Unit Citations, and there, I think there was a few I probably left off, and you're probably saying, yeah, you missed that one, you missed that one, you missed that one. Which one would you say of that laundry list I just listed, that when you put your blues on, half your chest is covered, would you say you're probably most proud of?
Anything unit related.
Yeah. Right.
Because it's all in the teams. It is literally about the team. So nobody really gives a shit about the individual awards. Yeah. It's pretty political process, but to be part of a unit, to be recognized as a unit for what you're doing over an extended period of time and nothing but combat. Like,
so that's what the joint service commendation, that's what that means.
Well, more like the presidential unit citation, those ones.
Well, what is that entail?
It's based on the performance of your unit over an extended period of time and can sustain combat throughout a theater or an operation. And we've got 3 of them. Each one is a different operation. So a different war that we were in that we did good enough to get some recognition.
Your service, the whole unit gets recognized.
Correct. So to me, that's more important than anything individual. Individual stuff is
team player, team man right here.
Yeah, it got to be. That's what makes us good, right? We're not good because we're a bunch of individuals. We're good because we work well together and we do it at a really high level. So
weakest link in the chain, all of you go down.
Exactly that.
And the dev group patch is a pretty big deal too, right?
The squadron patch? Yeah, of course. Yeah. It's something you have to earn. Yeah, exactly right. Yeah, and we take it very seriously. That's why you seldom see pictures of that stuff online. We try to keep it really close-knit and into that tight unit. And there's purpose and meaning behind it for all of us. And it's an honor. Yeah. It really is. Right up there with the American flag for us.
Oh, yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, American Badass.
Well, I appreciate you, man. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah. I got a few buddies that are SEALs.
Yeah.
You're the first one I've had on my show.
Wow.
So thank you for being
here. Fortunate to be here. So
I appreciate it.
It'll be a good conversation.
Yes, sir, it will.
Yeah.
We can't divulge in too much of our.
Yeah, I'm already told what I can't say, which is why I instructed them to make sure the waiver gets signed and the fuck up.
Yeah, that's whatever you want.
I don't want to cost me an eyeball. I like to see out of both eyes.
We got to make this. You cannot talk about my birthday.
No, that didn't happen. I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, you finally just got rid of that sore on your lip from your birthday. In a way, it's not. I think your birthday still.
Oh man,
it went away. There's a little scar there.
Yeah,
there's a little scar. You can still kind of see it. So, so after you got out of the Navy when?
2020, I medically retired,
okay.
And then
what was wrong with your body that made you fucking shirt?
It was wear and tear after a year. Yeah, a lot of injuries. Some combat related, some just actually doing the job, jumping, wearing gear. Much like being an athlete, it takes a toll on you. And
talk for a minute about. I've watched documentaries on buds. Just give me just a brief rundown on that.
It's like 6 to 8 months of waking up every day and getting kicked in the nuts. That's the best way I can describe it. It's the best time I would never want to do again. I still have friends, some of my closest friends that you suffer with in buds and it forges a relationship that you can never take that away. But, it's not teaching you how to be a SEAL. You're just learning who's going to quit and who's not going to quit. And that's what buds is about. And about 80% of the people that go through there make it.
How many times a day? Fuck this, I'm done. I'm out of here.
None. And you'll find that pretty significantly.
Slap yourself on the back of the head. Nope. We ain't quitting, dude.
No, man, I joined right after 9/11. Yeah. So for me, there was nothing they could have done to me that was going to take away my desire to be on the front lines and fixing that problem. and they could have done whatever they wanted. And I'm sure you talked to some of the guys in the teams.
Yeah.
There wasn't one time where guys that went through 9/11 around that time frame, the people that went through thought about quitting.
Sir, I think Budge, you said Budge right before you.
Yeah, he was a class ahead of me.
And he was University of Virginia.
Yep.
Towers happened, and he quit within like a couple of weeks and doing the Navy.
I worked for Enterprise Rent-A-Car.
That's what I was going to say.
And it's a great story. Yeah. So me and my 3 buddies, like right after college, we're like, all right, Enterprise Rent-A-Car, which is actually a really good experience. So you learn how to run a company, you learn how to work with friends, and how to manage relationships with actually doing the job. And not that we weren't assholes sometimes, we certainly were. But when 9/11 happened, I joined the Navy to be a SEAL. My other buddy joined the Navy to be a pilot, and my other buddy went into the government realm and became
so that just shut down that whole enterprise.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, and we all went in at the same time, and we all pretty much retired at the same time, and we had really good careers that we ended up meeting on the back end, and we're all friends still.
Yeah.
It's just
by
bigger purpose.
By the sheer fact that you didn't die to what you're doing.
Yeah,
A
thankfully.
lot better than being 18 years in enterprise.
Yeah, definitely. It changes perspective, and I would be in a much different place right now.
Short sleeve button down and clip on tie.
I mean, look at me. I mean, I half short sleeve.
When you fucking all inked up.
Yeah.
I just want to see a picture of you, like Enterprise
renting cars.
Yeah. I want to see you and our other buddy that works for the agency. I want to see y'all's pictures when y'all work for Enterprise.
I feel like we probably have just as many good Enterprise stories as SEAL stories.
I've heard some.
Like you wouldn't realize how far you could jump a rental car until you work for a rental car company. And the pilot guy, he says he has more flight time in a rental car than he does in an F-18. So it's interesting.
Rental car story. Played in Puerto Rico several times in winter ball. And I went there a couple of times like after I'd had several years of the bigs. Yeah, I'm in Porsches and Ferraris. Yeah. The team will be so proud of you, Mitsubishi Mirage. They're renting. Oh, you Mitsubishi Mirage. Not quite as my Ferrari, but I appreciate it. It's on my house. And it had to have a 4-cylinder, maybe even like a fucking 3-cylinder. I don't know. It was like a shitty engine, what I was used to. And playing for the Mayaguez Indios, and there was a shitty road construction down there. Yeah. Just no grading or whatever. There was a piece of road that was like this, about a mile down the road from the stadium. We figured out if you fucking put it on the floor and left it, by the time you got there, you'd be going about, say, like 80 miles an hour. Yep. All 4 wheels off the ground. Oh, yeah. Mitsubishi Mirage. Did it every
fastest car on the road. Rental car in reverse, right?
Yeah. So
I remember I was on tanks in the military, and I remember back after I got out, they started showing these commercials, these tanks, they would jump these mounds and stuff in the desert, and I'm like,
you try that shit?
Yeah, you can't do that.
No.
I mean, you can do it, but when you do it,
the
minute you land, the torsion bar breaks, and then you're back there fixing the every time you land. And when you land, you're talking about 72 tons of steel coming down.
That's true.
So it's not.
That's a lot of weight.
Yeah. That tanks have AC in the thing.
Man.
It don't have AC. It has an NBC, a nuclear biological thing inside of it.
Oh, yeah, of course.
That keeps you where you can breathe. So we just take that and we put it in our suit, and that's how we stay.
Is that what happened with some nuclear shit going on? Yeah.
I think it was the anthrax vaccine.
I still got my scar. I couldn't. I mean, we did a couple ops in Iraq where we would be in the back of APCs, and that's how we would get to the target. And it was one of the most miserable experiences of my life. I can't imagine working for a living. Just being in the back of it, so uncomfortable, and you're just loaded in and you're sweating your balls off in Baghdad, and then that thing opens and you can't wait to get out. It doesn't matter what people could be shooting off at you, and it's just get me out of this thing. I would rather get shot at
than boy, as hot as goddamn air is.
Well, my closest thing to the desert was the Mojave Desert out in California. So I went to NBC out there. That's where I was at because I went to Korea and Bosnia was going on during the time I was in. But being a driver was the best because I mean you was always laying down. I mean I was a master driver, so I never was a gunner. I never was a loader. I was always a driver.
You got to shoot it though, right? You got to shoot the tank, right?
No, I mean I got to shoot it when we were
training the shit, right?
But so when you become a driver, I guess because of how short I am, once you become a driver, then that's what you are.
It can't be without smart you are. Right? No, that's
it wasn't smart because I did some dumb crap.
It's gonna be tough. You're gonna be smart. You're gonna be tough. That's like Buzz. You don't have to be smart. It's gonna be tough.
You gotta be mindful.
And then we'll sort you out after Buzz and figure out who actually is smart.
But what about being in a tank though? You figure if you're in a tank in battle, I'm kind of sitting up, dude.
You are. I would be claustrophobic. I don't know if I would like that. At least give me a chance.
A big target, for a fucking mortar round or a goddamn A-10 Warthog flying over. Cause I guess the enemy ain't got those things. No. But
our tanks are pretty good. I mean, even the ones now. That's why they've had them since 1980. They started out with the M1A1. Now they got the M1A2. And really, the only difference is it's got some titanium stuff in it that you can't really talk about, but. And it reflects some things, but what they learned, and I'll tell you one of the coolest things that I learned through it was we have 3 different rounds on a tank. We have a sabo round, we have a heat round, and then we have what they call it's for shooting flying aircraft. Well, the sabo rounds cost money because they're nuclear, basically nuclear weapons. They're radioactive, whatever. But when you shoot a hole through a tank with that sabo round, it's a hole that goes in that big. They put a group of goats in this tank when they tested it out, and they showed us a video, and it made a hole about that big coming out, and it sucked
vaporized
everything. And the reason they wound up not using that during the war was because they found out.
I would use only that.
No, what happens is the tank's still operational. So the minute they suck everything out, another group of guys get in the tank.
Oh,
so that's why they started lobbing the heat rounds in, and it would blow the turrets off of them.
There you go.
It was a lot cheaper to do it that way too. So, yep.
Some of the
Interesting.
just creepy shit that people come up with.
Yeah.
Yeah. But,
Think tanks, right? There's
yeah.
people out there thinking about ways to kill people.
now, I know you said you didn't want to get into combat stories, etc. We're not going to do that. But maybe just touch on, and you had 18 years. How many years that was spent like downrange?
I did 12 deployments, so a lot. Yeah.
That's what, I mean, months per deployment?
It depends. The longest one I did was 7.5 months. The shortest one I did was probably 2 months. And everything.
All Mideast or anywhere else?
Mostly Afghanistan was probably the place I went to most. A couple to Iraq, Africa, some other places that, we're not talking about, but it's
the one time in all those 12 years, how to phrase it, you're in combat, you're sitting there thinking to yourself, shit, this ain't funny way. I mean, can you narrow down to just one?
Yeah, I think, right, everybody's scared, right? You get scared, and it's just a matter of being able to manage fear and use it as a positive, place a negative. And I don't care who you are, if you're jumping into another country out of an airplane to go to combat, and you're standing on the end of the plane looking down into blackness and knowing when you hit the ground, everybody wants to kill you, you're scared. Like but you're still going.
Yeah.
And you're not really afraid of the jump. You're not afraid of your chute not opening. You're not afraid of getting shot. You're afraid of whatever uncertainties out there
When
that
you
couldn't train for, right? Because you can only train for as many contingencies as you can think of. So, that to be able to harness that is great, but it's a skill that we do really good job of developing and harnessing and using as an effective tool to get people to do these things, willingly. Mm-hmm. But there's only one time where I thought, well, fuck, this is it. And it was actually the op that I got shot on. And after I got shot, we still had to get out. Like, we couldn't stop and hey, time out, we got to get these guys out of here. They're hurt. And we had to work our way off the target and fight our way out. And this was a new area that we hadn't been into. And, you get used to working in the same area of operations, and you treat the operations pretty similar because the response is going to be pretty calculated. And this is somewhere we hadn't been. And thankfully we had a really good plan that saved our lives. But what we weren't counting on is everybody within earshot was going to start shooting at us. And that's exactly what happened. And at one point, this is after I'd been shot, we were bounding away, and we're about 200 yards off of the target, focused on the target that was still shooting at us. And we just start taking anti-aircraft fire from behind us. And those are big ass tracer rounds. And I remember if like the camera is across the valley, just watching these anti-aircraft rounds coming right at us about a foot over my head. And I remember just laying down on my back, looking up thinking, well, fuck, how are we going to get out of this one? And that was the only time where I couldn't stand up. I couldn't move. I couldn't do anything. I was just laying there. Exactly. And I got, people on either side of me. I got the comms guy on his radio, and I grab him and pull him down. It just reminds me of every war movie you see where you look away and then you look back and the comms guy's gone. And thank God we've got the best toys in the world, and we just make a phone call to the airplane, and the airplane, there's no more gun, right? The airplane comes in and drops big bombs and ends it.
That's me a shit if you're the enemy, though. You think you've done so well. You've got these badass SEALs. Oh, we got right where we want them. And you hear them fucking jet engines. You're like, oh, shit, here it comes. Nowhere to run, nowhere to
Nothing you can do.
And all I got's my little small caliber, fucking gun here, and here it comes. Here comes this fucking warthog flying over.
Yeah. Yep.
You're like, son of a bitch.
Warthog was always our favorite.
Man.
When you was on the tank, you heard that warthog, you knew you using good company.
Same with us.
It's gotta be, that's not even fair. Not even fair.
They still using those. They tried to get rid of them.
They try, but there's nothing that can replace it.
No.
It's the only airplane built around the gun.
Yeah. And
that gun is badass. And I mean, they're still, at least when I was in, their crosshairs are written in marker on the windshield. Yeah. It's not technology. It's literally, all right, here's my X, and now I'm going in and I'm shooting. It is
that is old.
Badass.
It's just that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it might have other stuff, but that's the big one. Yeah.
That's one thing the military did right that I don't think they'll ever get rid of it.
I don't know how they could. It's such a useful tool.
It's been around for 40, 50 years.
It's a long time. Yeah. And it's effective. And you hear that noise and you know shit's fucked up.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's great.
What caliber is that?
I don't know. It's a good question.
Yeah.
You should do
bigger than 50 probably?
Oh, it's bigger than 50.
Yeah.
I would say it's the same round. It's probably the same one that's on the Scout. Probably.
I don't know.
I think the Scout's what.
You get a Warhawk guy on here and ask them.
That's actually a pretty good idea.
I'll tell you the best feeling though, and you've been on them probably a lot. I don't know, but the Scout helicopters, like the little like police helicopters you use now. We'd be in the tanks in the woods, and man, these helicopters they would come down. This is no joke. They would be maybe 30 feet off the ground, flying through these trees just sideways, and I mean it's crazy what these pilots can do.
The level of competency that military pilots have,
it is
unbelievable.
There's got to be half genius, half fucking nut job.
It's insane.
There's got to be crazy.
Like the big ones we use, like the 47s, the two propeller jobs, they're bigger than school buses. So you don't really get an idea how big they are until you're on one or near one, and they fly them like a sportsman. And the way they do it is at night, on night vision, no lights. It's nothing short of amazing, and they've saved my ass more than once. Where it's like if they weren't there,
tweak in the brain.
If they weren't there, we would have been done more than once. Man, thank God for those guys and women pilots as well. They are absolutely.
In your opinion, and don't be a fucking homer here, of all the special ops teams, who's the most badass?
I mean,
conceal, et cetera. Who's the most fucking badass? Don't be a homer.
I'm gonna say us, right? But I think there's a different team for a different mission set. Yeah. And when it comes to a certain mission set, you want that tier 1 unit, and that's us and the D boys, right? But it doesn't mean that the Rangers aren't fucking great at what they do. If you want an airfield taken down, you're going to the Rangers. You're not coming to us. Like that is their mission set. Same with SF. If you need,
all troops would train with slightly different skill sets.
Exactly right. We all have our primary mission set, and their mission set is different than ours. And it doesn't mean there's not crossover when we do different jobs, and doesn't mean an SF unit can't go do direct action. They will. Yep. They're not going to do it at our level, but they're going to do it really fucking well. But I'm not going to go in and do their mission set at their level. I'm going to go in and do it really well, but they're going to be better at it, right? And it's just really what separates everything is knowing what
they're all kind of trained equally. Just go in and just annihilate shit.
The D boys they focus on one thing. I mean, not one thing, but they focus on a niche. They have a niche.
Well, when you get to the tier 1 units, right, and we don't want to talk too much about it. The only differentiating factor is Navy and Army.
Yep.
We have the same mission set. We might do it in a different location around the world, but we're doing the same thing. And you could theoretically take one of them and put them in my team, and they're going to crush it. And I could take one of my guys and put them in their team. There might be some subtle differences on how we work, but they're so good that they'll fit right in and they'll be able to do the job. It's like free agency. It's like going from a playoff contender to a playoff contender. You're going to step right up and you're going to fill that role and you're going to do your job.
He's great with sports analogy.
You got to
translate into
people understand
the military genre.
Hey, he's a Boston. He's a Boston guy.
Hey, you would never tell. He's from New York.
Where's that?
And that's when the fight started. Yeah. That's when the fight started. We'll kill him. So 18 years. You said 18 or 20?
18. Yeah, right after 9/11, I went
7 years.
Yeah.
The last 7 years, you've gotten to a project that's pretty near and dear to your heart. Community first.
I did.
Let's talk about that. I've done some reading, some research on it. It sounds like you're providing a very needed service, filling a massive gap that I think most civilian dumbasses like Johnny and I may think was there. But once I start reading up on it, I'm like, yeah, that's a much bigger bridge to cross than I thought. And you're trying to fill that gap with your community first. Yeah.
So when I retired in 2020, I actually started a for-profit company, and I've been training cops pretty much my entire career, especially in the Virginia Beach, Norfolk area, but also in Boston, some other places where we would go train. They would host us to do urban training, which military facilities don't usually have the best urban facilities to train at. And the police would give us venues and they would take care of us. So our way to give back to them would be to provide training. And you realize pretty quickly that they are really far behind the power curve. Not just at the SWAT level. There's some great SWAT teams, and usually in the bigger cities, but specifically at the patrol level. And when you look at these critical incidents that happen at schools, it's not a SWAT team showing up. It's a patrol officer. It's a school resource officer. It's whoever's closest, right? Yeah. And they have the least.
Little bargain fight pistol.
It's whoever. And, you know, someone that shoots their gun 12 hours a year, like that's the requirement. And realistically, what we find out is that they go in, they pass a qual, and they get signed up because they don't have the manning or the funding to be able to train.
That's right.
And it really was rough for me watching this and, you know, being in the team that I was at. Like, there's no limit on funding. There's no limit on training. It's whatever you want, whatever you need, whatever technology. It is. Yeah, like, and our primary mission set is that hostage rescue, which is really no different than an active shooter. You're sacrificing yourself to go save someone else. And that's what we're asking these cops to do. But I had tens of thousands of hours doing it. And I had all the best technology and the best people around me to go do it together. And we still fail all the time because there's so many things out of your control that if it's not perfect, you're still going to fail. So I'm sitting here watching towards the end of my career, these events take place and the response is, well, let's defund the police. Let's arrest these officers for failing. Let's fire them and take their careers away and condemn them. And not from everybody, right? But from some people.
And blackball and make people coming up not want to be cops and just leave civilians like fucking ducks out there. Yeah. Just when you get robbed and looted and pillaged. Yeah,
and I'm watching this from a very
fucking liberals.
From a very different perspective where I know that like that person didn't mean to do that, right? They were just overwhelmed by events. Like they couldn't handle the stress of that situation because they hadn't been trained how to do that. And it wasn't their fault in most cases. Not that cops don't fuck up. They do. Just like every other job. There's people that will fuck up. And it happens. So I said, well, you know what? I'm going to start a for-profit company and I want to train patrol officers. You know, I know I'm going to get military contracts. I know I'm going to get federal agencies hiring me to train, but I really want to make sure that the people that are going to rescue my kids have access to the best possible training.
Yep.
And unfortunately, within about a couple of months, I realized that they were never going to be able to afford it.
Not there, yeah.
They couldn't pay.
That just amazes me.
Yeah.
Because they're paid through tax dollars.
Yep.
You know, reallocate some tax dollars to the departments, and some of that goes to your company to provide a needed service.
Well, what he's doing though, that is the big problem. I mean, that's why it ain't that we don't have good police people. Is that people don't?
It's great.
They don't have the training.
Yeah.
And that's the reason they fail. That's the reason. Yeah. That's the reason they can't provide the most.
If you took me out of high school and said, "Go play in the big leagues now," you know, eventually I got there because it was 4 years plus of my ass 250 days a year to get there.
And you're going to make a ton of mistakes getting there.
But just had no one to call it the skill set. It took me 4 years to fucking get there.
You know, I love my sports analogies. Here's my sports analogy. Like, and I'm going to use a picture one at you because, you know, think about taking a football player, and you can even say quarterback, someone that throws a ball for a fucking living, and say, I'm going to teach that guy how to pitch for 18 hours or 16 hours, which I think is really the max standard we see now. Most cops don't have active shooter training, but if they get it, it's 16 hours. So 2 days, 8 hours a day, at least half of that is online. And you teach them and say, hey, right, you are now able to respond to an active shooter. You signed off, you get your paperwork. You know, we brought some people in to teach you.
Check the box.
Check the box. And now you're at, you know, I teach this guy how to throw a football player, not even a baseball player, how to throw a baseball and maybe pitch some strikes, maybe a curveball. And let's fast forward. Now we're in the World Series Game 7, and I need someone to come in the bottom of the ninth and close it out. I call that guy. It's like, hey, man, why do you call me? I don't know how to pitch. Well, it says right here, you're not a pitch. You've got that 16-hour course that taught you how to be a pitcher, and now you're in the hardest, most stressful situation. Yep. Yeah. And then they fail, and then we fire them and want to, you know, blame the whole loss on them and want to arrest them and all that. That's what we're doing to cops right now. We're asking them to do a Navy SEAL Delta Force mission with 16 hours of training, and then when they fail, we want to throw them in jail.
I know that. 100%. And reading some stats that you obviously know these stats that back in, but read on your website, you know, some of the stats that is it takes more hours to get your esthetician's license in most states. Doesn't become a police officer.
Yep.
Well, on this level right here, in this way, I see it, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but police officers per capita are going to see more dangerous situations daily than an SF guy will see in his career, right? I mean, because every time you pull somebody over as an officer, I mean, you're in a situation.
The opportunity is there. And now the shit we're seeing now where people just want to attack cops for fucking no reason other than they're cops. Like every day they go to work and put on the uniform, they are on the quote unquote battlefield.
Yeah.
Right. For us, we train, and then we deploy.
That's it.
And then we're in danger. And even then we're on a protected base and we only put ourselves into the situation to do the mission. And then we're back on that protected base. A cop, as soon as they put the uniform on, shit, nowadays they don't even have to. Cops are getting attacked, you know, out of service or off duty.
Even firefighters now.
And
it's a couple weeks ago.
The stress that comes with that, and you know, a whole another conversation is talking about the mental health issue in law enforcement. I would put that to where we were in special forces maybe 10 years ago before we really put a lot of money and energy into fixing the problem. It's a wonder to me that anybody wants to be a cop.
I wouldn't get it.
It's a wonder. And you're getting people,
the money they make and the shit they got to deal with.
That just goes to show you.
And not just the shit to deal with normal problems. You know, how to deal with these.
Yeah.
And now the political shit, just the societal, societal nonsense that goes around gets focused on you.
But that's why people should really appreciate them more, because the people that are doing it for the right reason.
Yeah.
Because if it ain't for they're not making any money. And you're still going to have one or two bad guys here, that ain't that good. But the majority of them are doing it for the right reason. And that's
absolutely.
And that's why we should be behind them, training them for what you're doing, because those guys need to have the top tier training. Just my opinion, because I mean, in the military, and mine wasn't nowhere what you guys did, but this, if you're in a situation, you got 4 or 5 people you can call behind you and say, hey, come help me. You're an officer. You might have your sheriff's office that comes and helps you, but if you call the city, well, we got to go through this guy, or we got to go through that guy, or you got
to help maybe freaking 15, 20 minutes away.
Yeah. So, I mean,
exactly. I guess with you got some other badass right over your damn left.
Yeah, I mean, we plan all these contingencies. So when I'm out the door, I know I have access to every asset in the fucking military to do my job, to do it the right way. And cops, you're out there on your own.
That's it.
And you can't trust the people that come to help you know what they're doing either. And I look at the active shooter thing, and man, there are cops out there, a lot of them, that have no business carrying a gun, who, when you put them in a situation like that, are probably just as likely to shoot an innocent child as they are to shoot the person actually committing the crime. And that is not their fault. It's because we don't afford them access to training under stress.
So you started community first. You were a for-profit.
Yep, for-profit.
Money for that. So you flipped to a 501c3. When did you do that?
I did that in 2022. So early in 22, early in 22, I started the process. I reached out to people I know in the New England area. I'm from the Boston area. Hey, do you think this is something we could do? I reached out to all the cops I could find, and then I reached out to every politician on both sides of the aisle, because to me, this is community safety. This is our kids. I don't care what side of the aisle you're on. You need to support this, and we've gotten a lot of support from both sides. Thank God, because we're very. Right. Here's what it is. This is about keeping our kids safe when they go to school, when they're out in public. And
the general public's safe. You never know when you're going to have
everybody
some nut job walking to Walmart, brandishing whatever,
Absolutely right.
Actually, my girlfriend, who's usually out here, she was in an active shooter situation in Memphis like 4 or 5 years ago, ran and hid in the bathroom.
Yeah.
She said she was scared shitless.
Well, you see, my
she's not very fast.
Social media, I was in Boston doing a fundraiser, and my daughter texted me, and there was a shooter, or a kid with a gun in the school, and then school was locked down, and she was locked with her gym class in the locker room. And, I've always said, I live 2 minutes from the school. If that happens in school, I'm going to be there before it pops. And I'm 600 miles away. Listening to my daughter tell me, in tears, how scared she is, and she doesn't know what to do, and I can't do anything. And thank God I've trained some of the cops that were responding, so I'm getting real-time updates as they're going to the school, and I'm talking to my daughter real-time saying, here's what you need to do. Here's, stay calm, and trying to make light of the situation. And at the end of the day, no shots were fired, thank God. But to see that as a parent who is completely helpless, probably the guy who in this country is most equipped to handle a situation like that, and there was nothing I could fucking do. And it's like, if I needed more reason to want to train cops up to par, that was it for me, man. And to go back, like I called around and I got so much support that, we're going to do the nonprofit. We started it. We did our first fundraiser on Nantucket because a couple of my board members, Allison and Nicole, who are amazing, been since day one, they linked up a really good group of people, and we raised about $350,000 in 3 hours, and we've been nonstop since then. So now, we started in Massachusetts. We get people from around the country on the law enforcement side calling. And it's just a matter of staying up with the budget, like being able to raise enough money until we can get the federal government on board to want to.
So are you in all these trainings, or do you have like different groups?
No. So
people equally bad motherfuckers like you.
Yeah.
6 of you here. There's teams of different guys that kind of deploy all over.
So, the downside of being so successful, I did this originally because I love to teach. I love to train. I love to share what I learned over my 2 decades. We got so big so fast. All I do now is raise money. I do this stuff. I do podcasts. I go to events. I am the up and out of the business. And I hired this guy, Carl Gustafson, who I worked with for almost 10 years at the command. Gus, who you've heard of, and he runs operations for me now. So he mans the training. I've got guys, all tier 1 operators, so from Army and Navy, that are my instructors. So we are providing literally the best possible training to these officers at the patrol level that they will ever get in their career at no
What does that
charge.
look like? So you go into a precinct here in Atlanta.
Yep.
And you've got how many guys, how many days, weeks? What's the program?
So right now we're doing a 40-hour course, and I'll be the first to tell you that's the minimum. Like that is an introduction, so you can realize like, oh fuck, there's a lot more out there, and we need to be on.
At least you know what you don't.
You know what you don't know, and at the end of the day, law enforcement training is very antiquated. If you look at someone like me, if I'm doing a 6-month deployment, I'm training for 18 months before that 6-month deployment. If I'm doing a 4-month deployment, I'm training for 12 months. Cops are getting 40 hours a year of in-service training on anything, like a new computer program in their car. That's their 40 hours of training, right? So we're just literally people who learn on the job. We're asking them to be experts in situations that they see maybe once in their career. Mm-hmm. It's just like we need to get to a point where, in my perfect world, we train a cop for a week, they work for 3 weeks. So we'd have to hire more cops to put them on this rotation where they're getting a training event every month. And it doesn't all have to be active shooter tactics, but it should be something that's applicable to working under stress and making critical decisions about life or death, because that's what we're asking them to do. And they're the only ones that can do it.
Yeah.
So you get a lot more of those too with the, protests and riots that are happening on a weekly basis now.
Every time you turn on the
always
TV,
seem to happen when a Republican presidency is
all the time.
Liberals, we don't tend to bitch and piss and moan as much, but
so my question's always been, and I've known you a long time, Sully. My question's always been, now that you're growing, how does a police department, how does a sheriff's office, how do they reach out to you, and how do they raise money to get you to come train them?
I mean, in the perfect world, they won't have to raise the money. Like, I've already raised it, but it's not a perfect world. I turn down probably 9 out of 10 departments right now because we can't fund them. And if I haven't raised money in that state, then we probably can't.
What does it cost for that 40-hour course?
About 25 grand. About 25 grand, and that's low
on the floor. Your guys to pay your guys.
It's travel and instruction costs, and then obviously on my backside, my fundraising. We have to be able to afford that as well. So 25 grand, and that's just going to go up the more people I hire, right? And the bigger we get, the more I scale, the more I have to charge. Only, I am funding it, so I'm paying the bill right now. So 25 is about the average. It doesn't mean we can't do it for less if we're able to find ways to save money. Like if they bring the training venue and I don't have to rent one, that saves us money. If they bring all their ammo and I don't have to bring the ammo, provide that saves us money.
I didn't think about that.
But, and we're just finding ways to cut corners to get more. I would rather get more training out than have, this grand event.
I know from running my own 501c3 for homeless veterans for 7, 8 years, which I was the PR guy and tried to raise the money. With a nonprofit, the biggest bitch is raising money.
It's hard.
It's hard to do.
Hardest thing I've ever fucking done.
It's a 60-hour-a-week job, man. It never stops. And it was so frustrating, too. I probably did no less than 200 TV shows, podcasts, radio, from Hannity to Cavuto to whoever. And I literally, I can't remember, I think I did Michael Savage. I did that fucking clown show. Yeah. And literally, I think his audience was about, his radio, about 500,000 on Wednesday or something. And literally had Michael Savage. Great calls. When I hang up, I'm going to donate. I'm going to donate as soon as we get on the phone. I had real time.
Yeah. No donation. People have the best of intentions, right? And you have to have thick skin when you run a nonprofit. That's right. People promise you the world, and it doesn't happen. And it's not because they don't want to. I think it's, especially when you're dealing with ultra high network people who are getting pulled in every direction for their money.
$20, man, cheap ass.
There's a lot of great causes out there. I'm just one of them. Yeah. And it doesn't offend me at all. But
so is the direction you're going in now? Is your direction like maybe getting the government to do some co-op with you?
That would be ideal. And to go back to your other question, like if there's a department in Georgia where we're now actively raising money, they can hit me up on the website. So c1p.org. If they know you, they can go right to you guys. You can connect them. At the very least, we'll have the conversation, and there's things that I can help cops with without actually coming to do it in person. Like we can review SOPs. We can talk about how we man, all the things that we do to make us, I think, great. We can have those conversations, and with the end goal of being, we want to be there in person to teach, but we're forging relationships, not transactions. Like we want to be the people they call to help make them better. Yeah. And it shouldn't be money the reason that doesn't happen. Yeah. And right now we've got some lobbyists helping us in DC. We're trying to work on federal funding, and it changes every year where the money is available to nonprofits or it's only available to law enforcement. So it becomes hard. But I think doing these things and getting the word out there and having people advocate for us at all the levels is, in the 3 years we've been doing this, we've just skyrocketed. And when people are hearing about us, people are talking about us, and the money's going to come.
Yeah, I've read a lot about you guys. Very impressive what you're doing.
I appreciate
what would you put together? Shit, 2.5, 3 year period of time.
It amazes me that nobody's done this yet.
Yeah.
Right. Because I think a lot of guys that come out of the military, which is another great thing of what I get to do is I get to hire veterans, is they need service to function.
Just for those guys too.
So this is mental health.
Well.
They're getting a paycheck. With the way that I look at it, it buys them time till they figure out what they're going to do next for their lives. And it gives them a mission. It gives them focus. It gives them, they immediately lose the brotherhood in many ways because they're not actively participating in operations anymore. And it's a big hit to the ego, but also to the mental health of veterans. And now they have something to focus that energy, and it buys them time.
Yeah.
And it's just another good.
I can relate on a smaller degree because people ask me all the time, what do I miss playing baseball?
Yeah.
Like, not really. I miss hanging out with the boys.
I miss
in the clubhouse and,
yeah.
Doing jackass shit after the I miss that. Do I miss 162 games dragging my fat ass out in front of crowds when it's 96 degrees on AstroTurf? Really? Maybe be the hero or maybe be the GOAT. Not so much.
Same thing, like
out with the boys and and then doing dumbass shit in the clubhouse. Absolutely, I mean, which is
very similar. Yeah.
You're having fun. You guys are having fun while also getting like a shot at, which I can do without that part.
Yeah. As can I.
But and that was one thing too. When my 501c3 was for homeless veterans, and a lot of them ended up homeless, getting done. Fuck, I do now. Yeah, that's a nice big shiny bottle of booze right there. Maybe I'll just get drunk for the next 3 years.
Yeah.
And lose my job, and my family kicks me out, and we picked up. It was renting here out of Atlanta. We picked up a number of guys that were literally parked benches in Piedmont Park. Like their family knew where they were. They're in Piedmont Park somewhere, and I had two guys specifically. One sister, one mother, found them, dragged them off a bench in Piedmont Park, brought them to one of our houses.
I'll tell you.
It was the same story. After I got done, just no direction. I'm floating around aimlessly and just got fucking drugs and alcohol, and family got sick of fucking dealing my ass. And
there's so many stuff. There's so many episodes we could do on that. I mean, there's between that and the mental health side of things, but then going back to what we was talking about just a little while ago, I think, John, where it starts, where we can help you, is we look at that camera and tell our community that we're talking, the community we're in. Like, we're filming in this community, we're filming that community. That's what it's about. That community is the one that's got to raise the money. They're the ones that's got to say, hey, we want you guys to invest money in our officers, and this is how we do it, because you can't start it. You can start at the big level, but the big level takes forever. But this little community movement, you can do that in a hurry.
Exactly. And when this show airs, it'll have your hashtags, your website, all the donate, click here, donate buttons. So it'll have all that stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, we had a lot of luck with people, who have the means to support training and want their departments trained. And we'll always do that, right? We're grassroots right now, but the goal is to get this funded federally, and at the state level. But until that happens, we're going to keep doing this. We're going to keep doing the concerts. We're going to keep doing the range events.
Eventually get some kind of federal state fund.
Yeah, it's got.
Well, it's got to be federal. Okay, like the state. You guys, how many states?
No. So right now, Massachusetts is the only state giving us money. We have a line item on their budget.
But how many states have you guys worked in?
16.
Yeah.
So and we funded it all and through private donors. Almost all of that outside of Massachusetts, all private donors. And it's once you explain to people the mission. I haven't had anybody say, no, that's not something I'm interested in. It doesn't mean everybody's going to donate.
Everybody's got a children, not they're unwanted or unneeded, a children's charity, a cancer charity.
There's so many.
I've never heard of anything like this. You're definitely the first of your kind.
Yeah, I agree. And it's the more I dig in and the more I talk about it, the more I realize just how needed it is.
Turn on the news once a week.
Yep.
And then there's something every week. It's some shit like this.
Yeah. I mean, look at Uvalde, right? That's probably the biggest example of why we made this. Recently. And half of those officers, I believe, had active shooter training by the #1 trainer of active shooters right now in the country. And that still happens. Yeah. And again, if you don't train under stress, you can't be expected to perform under stress. Mm-hmm. And that's what we do is we did such a good job of working and training under stress for our mission that we're really, really adept at.
What would you say the level of credibility is for like an ICE agent? They're not at your level to do their job, what they're dealing with. I mean, they're under attacks as well.
Yeah.
They're going into communities that,
So like any other unit, like they have tactical teams and they have agents, right? The agents aren't trained to be able to respond tactically to situations. So they're going to have the minimum amount of
they're
firearm
being
training.
attacked now by these morons in LA and get firebombs thrown at them and
They,
shit.
you know, I would say they're probably a little bit more well-trained than the average patrol officer. We're not talking about SWAT teams here. SWAT teams have additional training. They have a budget. It's not good enough. It needs to change, but at least they have something. And when you look at a lot of these federal agencies, most federal agents, unless you're on a tactical team, aren't going to have that level of competency that, you know, a high-level SWAT team would have.
Yeah.
And so when they're getting attacked, typically they don't have the situational awareness to see the situation before it happens.
But
And they certainly
most
don't
of that by civilians, you know, unarmed or armed with rocks civilians, you can't just open fire on these motherfuckers.
No.
I wish
No.
I could, you could.
Yeah.
And that's another problem, right? Is we
Yeah.
don't arrest these people and prosecute when we allow it to happen.
And that's
Right,
why I
and-
think, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I think, and you can tell me what you think, but I've always said this. I think every police officer, and that's what you're doing, should have some level of military training, because the first thing they teach you in the military is you got to have truth. You got to assess the situation. You got to assess that situation quick.
Yeah.
You know, is this a situation where I'm going to pull out a gun and I'm going to shoot everybody standing there, or is it a situation where I'm going to say, calm down, you know, let's get this thing under control, whatever, you know, because throwing a rock at somebody or throwing a battery at somebody, does that warrant shooting them through the heart? Probably not.
Yeah.
You know, but you got to assess that situation. You got to do it quick.
What about assessment incorrect?
Yeah.
I say yes there.
Yeah.
But and that's part of what we're talking about is, you know, the big catchword right now is de-escalation, right?
Yes.
They want de-escalation, and people want to bring in shrinks and talk about mindset and all, and that's great. But if someone pulls a gun, or you think someone pulls a gun, you are in fight or flight,
That's right.
right? And you are making a decision based on preserving your own life. And if it's the wrong decision, that's not what you're concerned on in the moment.
Nope.
So what we talk about is we're trying to raise the bar of when an officer goes into that fight or flight response. Meaning, if I can buy 2 seconds to where they see, oh wait, that's a cell phone, not a gun, and they choose not to shoot, well then think of the money we just saved that department in lawsuits, right? And so what we are doing,
Protest and
we are actually de-escalation training by teaching people the correct way to handle these ultra high stress
That's it.
critical incidents.
Yep.
And when you sell it that way, people say, well, okay, we're not militarizing police,
Nope.
right? When you say military and training and cops, people freak the fuck out.
Yeah.
And I get it, right? And at the end of the day, I think there's a lot of confusion in quote unquote branding
It's the lingo.
on what we think we're doing with cops. We're not teaching
you want the best training for them, which is a lot better training than police officers get. You want to have the best training.
We want them to be able to
We want
respond
to describe
to the shit that they're seeing every day that they go out into the fucking workforce.
That's it.
And that's it. And if someone's trying to kill you, you want to be able to respond in kind.
Yep.
If someone's coming out there and they want to put hands on, they might not need to be shot. But if you don't know how to respond with hands on, you're escalating the situation, not de-escalating the situation,
100%.
right? So we are setting these cops up for failure, left and fucking right. And then we want to throw them in prison when they fail.
See, if
It's fucking awful.
if all these cops had the training he's talking about, and we've been talking about here, you would see the temperature in America go down.
100%.
The-
I absolutely agree with that. Yeah.
about a lot less volatile situations,
Yeah.
all situations that end in tragedy.
Yes.
You know?
A lot less. Yeah. I mean, we'd be saving lives and even criminal lives. Like we'd be, you know, I'm my career. I think a lot of people deserve to die. You know, I made a living off that. Right. So there are people that fucking deserve to die. If you start shooting kids, you do not deserve to fucking live,
No.
in my opinion. So we just need to be able to separate that from the people that are fucked up mentally or, you know, are criminals, but not necessarily taking a life.
Yeah.
Right. And it's really hard to do that when you can't control your own temperament in a situation because you're overcome by events.
That's it.
And sports analogy, right? You can take a phenomenal college football player, like, you know, and we could go down the list. I don't want to call people out. And then you put them in the NFL and they suck. Did they all of a sudden become not talented? Absolutely not. They just couldn't handle the stress of that environment and couldn't process information fast enough
That's
to
it.
be good at their role. And it's the same thing with cops. And the only way you make that better is to put them in training in those
It's work, yeah.
situations. Yeah. So it's interesting. Right?
Yeah, it is, man. That's a great nugget you hit on right there. You know, it's very needed. And,
Yeah, we're trying.
I'm quite shocked that it hadn't been done by anybody else.
I am, but
you
you know,
should have some competition.
We should, and hopefully we will at some
Some
point.
point you will,
And,
You,
yeah.
you probably wouldn't see it as competition.
Nope.
I think what we need to do, John, is in the future we need to bring Gus on too. So you haven't met Gus, but Gus is kind of his boots on the ground, and Gus is
Okay.
He's good. He's got, you know, a really good background similar to mine and did a lot of great things. We worked together for almost 10 years at the Tier 1 unit. And he's like me. He just wants to help. And, you know, we could be out there making a shit ton of money or we can be out there making a difference, and we choose to make a difference.
Yeah.
And yeah, we need help. We can't do it ourselves. So when we do these things and we talk directly to the audience, it's jump on the train and let's help the cops, because you're helping yourself. You're helping your family.
I tell you what, I do a charity event every year out in Cody, Wyoming. And every year we switch up the fee. I didn't go this past year because I was down coach at the Braves complex. But next year I'm going to call the other producers of the event and see if maybe Community First can be the.
I would love that.
Can be the recipient.
And whatever we need to do to help.
Raise 80, 100 grand a year. It's just not a huge event. But they'll raise about 100 a year.
Well, just think about it. If you raise 25 grand, you just train the police department.
Yeah, man, that's four we're in a position to go and shit.
Yeah, and then whatever money we raise in Wyoming, we would spend in Wyoming. Yeah. And that's how it works. And the ideal situation is I get one of my guys who's from Wyoming, and he's getting out, and he goes home, and then he becomes my program manager in Wyoming, and he manages that. And
I don't think Wyoming have too much of an issue with like school shooting. Everybody in Wyoming owns at least 5 guns.
Yeah. But you never know.
That 6th grader is probably packing.
You never know. Like, there's no rhyme or reason to where, someone's going to walk out in the public and start shooting.
Yeah.
Right?
But the great thing about his is dear to me because, I would always watch on TV, just like we've been talking about. I'd always watch on TV and say, man, why'd you have to shoot that guy? Why'd you have to do this? I mean,
yeah.
And now we're having to deal with this whole different thing. But if you had this certain training, you would have never shot that guy.
Yeah.
You would assess that situation. Because unless you think somebody's pulling that gun out, there's no, a knife, if somebody pulls a knife out, if you can't de-escalate the knife situation, there's a problem.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's just my opinion.
Yeah. Well, and that's a whole nother story, right?
Yeah.
Whether you shoot somebody with a knife or not. And you can go into the facts about how close they need to be. But at the end of the day, you put someone in the situation, they're choosing their own life, not the other person.
I agree.
And I have a hard time blaming somebody for taking a shot when they were afraid for their life.
I do.
So
how many guys you got working for you right now?
So I have a staff of 5. So those are my full-time employees from, social media and digital marketing, operations. I got a law enforcement director.
But your guys that are in the field work?
In the field, I have a pool of about 20 to 25 guys that I rotate through to do the training. And they're 1099, so they come in, I hire them when they need work. I throw out all the courses, and whoever Rogers up goes and teaches the courses.
All tier 1 guys? All
tier 1 guys. Yeah. That's eventually that might have to change the bigger we get. There's only so many tier 1 Army and Navy guys out there. And, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. My long-term goal is to start putting in regional facilities because, you go up to New England, there's nothing.
They come to your facility.
They would come to us, and then I can have a staff. That's a great idea. And, we'd have to have berthing and they would come live there like a little fob.
That's a great idea.
And we train them. And that's like a $10 to $12 million upfront cost to build that. Mm-hmm. If we could find states that are willing to donate the property that already exists and we just retrofit it, that saves us a ton of money. And it makes my life easier because I can just have a full-time staff that does all the training, and in the long run, it would do way cheaper. Yeah. So that's the goal. And we start putting those in. I want to do one in New England because there's nothing there now. Not at all. SIG Academy has a great facility up there, but they're some of the best shooters out there teaching shooting, but it's difficult to get cops up there as well. So, we just
got some great long-term goals, great plan.
We got
great vision.
You gotta, and if not me, then who, right? And we're just gonna keep doing it.
I think we'll sit here, look back in 10 years, and we'll look back and be like, look how far we've come.
I hope so.
We did this thing we were 2.5 years ago.
I hope so.
You were like 10 years from now, you're like, look how far we've come, man. I mean, be pretty proud of yourself.
No, I appreciate that, man.
You will.
We're just trying.
Giant free.
Got this guy.
Man.
I only got, so we're going to wrap it up probably. John, unless he's got some other stuff, but I got one question before we leave. So me and you big into music. We go hang out and do stuff with music. We do some other stuff together.
Yep.
What are you listening to in the car right now?
Oh, man.
I've heard of the Backstreet Boys riding in.
Pink Pony Club? It's my jam, dude. Pink Pony Club, yeah. Yeah. I know you got it on repeat. I know you do.
Well,
I mean, I did.
He was humming the other day.
Some dude I know may have slipped me the new Cody Jinx.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I might be rocking that out.
His new stuff's bad.
Fucking, you've turned me on to quite a few good people, and man, I love it. I love it, and I love the support we get from that world. It's so patriotic and pro law enforcement, pro military. So it's been great.
I'm looking forward to John getting behind y'all because John, he's got what most people don't understand. This guy right here's got the biggest heart in the world. He's always he's always wanting to help people and everything like that, And so I always get tired of people. Oh, John's this. No, John's got a big one.
That's all. I love it. Don't take that with him. Don't give me credit for that.
It's hard for that reputation.
I ain't going anywhere.
All I care about is Pink Pony Club playing on the outro. So as we go out, it's a gym.
the lyrics on your website. That's
Yeah,
the
there it
theme
is.
right here.
I mean, to be Frogman.
Yeah, Whiskey Myers, man. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Another good group of dudes that obviously support our community.
Yeah.
So I like it.
Yeah.
You got to go.
All right, Sully.
Yeah.
Thanks for being on.
I appreciate you. Thank you, guys.
Community First is the name of the organization. In this episode, we'll have all the links and everything to donate. You can't join unless you feel like signing up, becoming a SEAL, retire. Then you could join. But please donate. Community First. What Sully's been saying the last half hour, clearly very needed. So you guys, thanks for tuning into the Uncaged John Rocker podcast, and thanks to Sully being here.
Thank you.
And obviously PIC Johnny Free.
Appreciate
All
it,
right.
guys.
See you guys
Thanks,
next time.
fellas.